I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi with Business Time on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you business and economic news stories making headlines.
Insuring and saving with Old Mutual means growing crops, growing jobs, growing a future. Creating mutual futures, your money invested for the good of all.
In the program today, National Planning Commission speaks on exchange and interest rates trends and what needs to be done to aid Malawi 2063 first 10-year implementation plan. Also in the program, Sky Energy overwhelmed by local demand for electric vehicles. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. Over the past weekend, financial and economic experts gathered in Mangochi for the 2023 Financial Market Dealers Association annual conference. We bring you some of the speakers and what they shared at the conference, beginning with National Planning Commission Director General Thomas Muntari. He touched on exchange and interest rates trends and what needs to be done to aid Malawi 2063 first 10-year implementation plan.
See, inflation is a reflection of low supply in the market. Goods and services, the price of goods and services will go up if they are fewer or if the demand is, too high. Now, in our case, it's because we have fewer goods and services in the market. As simple as that. So, for you to produce more goods and services, it means the cost of production has to be low. Now, the cost of goods and the cost of production comes by interest. So, if, for instance, inflation is going up and then you reduce interest rates, the ability of the producers to produce more becomes higher. The inflation will become short-lived because sooner there will be a lot of flooding the market with the goods and services, then inflation tapers off. You see, the challenge that we've done as a nation is that we followed the Western economics. In Western countries, they operate at more or less maximum production capacities. So when you increase interest rates, there's not going to be any more production anyway because they've reached the apex. But for us, if you reduce interest rates, you can be assured that there's going to be higher production in the market. So we have to have a proper diagnosis of the challenge that we have as a nation. Yes, stability of prices is important, but at the expense of what? As I said, look, we have a number of key initiatives, especially government. When you look at the Malawi 2063 first 10-year implementation plan, some of the game-changing interventions include mega farming. And there is now coming a developmental state where we need the state to come and take an active role in strong alliance with the private sector in areas like where ADMAC is not doing well now. We might like the kind of financial instruments that we need to put up front. These are the experts to suggest to government, and I encourage them that don't sit on the stands and just watch. If the economy sinks, they sink as well, because the stability and sustainability of their profitability depends on how the economy performs. And that would require that the financing that they are putting into the economy is not just around speculative money markets, but it also goes to the productive sectors. So they've got a key role to think through where do we put the money, and them engaging us was important because they needed to know what are the priority sectors, what are the priority areas that they need to support the economy to move forward. You see, the challenge with the way the currency is at the moment, there is a big discrepancy between what is obtainable in the parallel market and the formal market. Matter of fact, we should not be having two currencies. The parallel market rate should not be there. There should only be one formal market rate. Now, for you to do that, one of the things that can sustainably bring that to bear is that there should be minimization of speculation. How do you take speculation off? Is to make sure that you are not going to think there's going to be devaluation tomorrow, no, because there's going to be an auctioning of forex tomorrow, we can put it at that price. Let it go, because when you let it go, it means the market will determine the price. The short-term ramifications will be huge, and they have political ramifications, obviously, yes, because inflation will shoot up, but the benefits that will accrue over a period of time will outweigh whatever short-term losses that we can make. You see, there are two ways to how we can generate our forex and sustain a good buffer. First, short term. Short term, as the ECF program by the MF is a good way, and I think we need to congratulate the efforts by the authorities having reached this far, because that has a signaling effect in terms of us accessing resources from bilateral and multilateral creditors, including some of them putting money straight into government coffers. But at the same time, there's need to look at the illegal black market. I think if you go in other countries like Zambia, Tanzania, you can't just go on a supermarket, a shopping mall, and find people changing dollars. Here in Malawi, you go to ShopRite, you find people changing dollars in daylight. And I think that points to failure for us as a nation to curtail that black market. I think it's illegal, and we should just go outright and stop it. As simple as that. As we are working on the longer term aspects of productivity, which means that we now have to, is the discussion we're having with FIMDA on how we make sure that resources are flowing towards the productive sectors. So these have to fly at the same time. It has to work as a package.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer for CDH Bank, Toko Nkavea, believes banks need to do more to support the agriculture sector.
Yes, I did share based on information that we spool from the research reports, mainly from the Reserve Bank, that shows that only 12% of total loans and advances in 2022 from banks have gone to agriculture. It's low, given that agriculture contributes well north of 26% of our national GDP. What I was trying to do is to emphasize almost the upside down kind of support that financial institutions are giving to agriculture, which is supposed to be funded more given its importance to national GDP. A presentation today centered on an attempt to change the mindset of the dealers from a receiver to an active player in funding agriculture in Malawi. Most especially now when we are having challenges in foreign exchange, we believe that the dealers, some of the most highly educated people in banks, sit at the center of creating solutions that can help the country get out of these problems.
So in doing that, what are some of the possible solutions, or what are some of the possible interventions that you were proposing that the dealers should be looking at?
The dealers should help in creating structures and financial securities to raise capital that can help agriculture companies do their projects very well. I like the reaction that came from the team. They would like to see more agro-processing. And indeed the conversation centered on how can the dealers, instead of waiting to receive either cash or forex, be at the forefront in helping create the structures to enable commercial farmers access finance. Insurance is number one. We need to make insurance affordable. There are plenty of risks, as you rightly say, in agriculture, weather, infestation, as you say. There's a lot of market risk as well. We know that prices of commodities change depending on supply elsewhere in the world. Insurance would help significantly, and affordable insurance. Not any other insurance, but it has to be affordable so farmers can, adequately afford it. The second most important thing is we need knowledge in agriculture. We need to encourage and invest in our universities to train very high quality graduates who understand what they do. When they say that we will produce such a crop for export, for example, even for the local market, they must be so sure that that's what they need, because an investor will not commit resources where they feel that knowledge is lacking.
Sky Energy has indicated that it is overwhelmed by the demand for electric vehicles in the country, as it is currently processing over 1,000 inquiries. The company's operations manager, Kondwani Chereni, says they are turning the inquiries into orders where customers are paying a deposit for them to start processing. He explains.
Say that the development has surpassed our expectation since the launch last month. The month of September up to now, we've been receiving a lot of inquiries, and we've been receiving orders from individuals and as well as from corporate organizations. we've hosted banks, a number of commercial banks in Malawi. They came to our office to inquire more about this service. Also, some international organizations, they came to our office to understand the vision behind this technology, on where we're going and what are the parameters which we've taken. In short way, the whole vision of it. I can say that the demand, you know that this is new technology, so in our expectation we never expected that the demand would be skyrocketing, but as of now I think we've received some inquiries of more than 1,000 or so from different organizations, from different corporate companies, from individuals as well as NGOs. I cannot disclose the actual number because in terms of the orders, people are paying, companies are paying, and I think it will not make substance to disclose the actual number up to now. Some vehicles are here in Malawi, some are still in transit, and people are still pressing their orders, companies are still pressing their orders, so I think it would be good if I could disclose the actual number in December. Firstly, I think people need to understand that these vehicles, the primary charge is at their homes. So they can be charging at their homes, maybe during night time as they are resting. Come the next morning, they are back on the load, of which maybe they can drive about 7 days or so, almost a week, with a single charge. And as well, we've put some agreements in papers, of which we will finalize it this coming month end of October, with service station providers, fuel service station providers in Malawi, whereby we're going to place fast chargers in the service stations, of which the actual deployment of the fast chargers will start coming January 2024. But for 2023, starting from last month up to now, we are still putting all parameters in place, like the paperwork, signing out the MOUs, and the other such contractual paperwork. Before we started bringing these EVs, we did a market research, we did a feasibility study for our roads, the financial capacity of people in Malawi. So firstly, we are bringing those EVs which are suitable for Malawian roads. We understand Malawian roads. We are here in Malawi, born, raised in Malawi. We understand our roads in Malawi. So we are bringing those vehicles, as maybe you saw it on the launch. There are those cars which are very suitable for Malawian roads. So so far we've brought Citroen E3, and on transit we've Tata Tiago, which is also on its way, and most E3 Citroen vehicles, they are also on their way coming to Malawi. We are using our banks, commercial banks, which we've been doing business with. We are using the forex which commercial banks have. So far so good, yeah. We don't have any other source where we're getting the forex. We are using the banks as normal, as the normal procedure. We're just following the normal procedure. You know, these vehicles, they are using the latest battery technology in the world. So they're using lithium-ion batteries, of which the lifespan is above 15 years. So it's minimum of 15 years. So it's about 15 years. So as you can know, driving a car with a lifespan of the battery is only about 15 years, of which anything happened before 15 years, the manufacturers, they are very willing to replace. So we've got the expertise that will replace the battery pack. So if anything happened before 15 years elapse, we are going to be in touch with the manufacturers. They'll be sending other battery packs, and we will be replacing those battery packs for our clients.
How much would a battery cost?
It depends, but it's not as expensive as if you compare to the consumables around the cars which use fuel. It's within the range.
This is Business Time on Times. We'll be right back.
Ku Malawi timanena kuti chuma chili mu nthaka, ndipo izi ndi zoona. Zonse zimayambira pa Nazare pano. Timafuna kuti mtedza wa makademiya wa ku Malawi uzidziwika kuti ndi wabwino koposa. Tikakolola kwambiri timalembanso ntchito anthu ambiri. Ndimakhala onyadira kukhala nawo otenga mbali mu zimenezi.
Old Mutual is investing for the long term from the ground up. We call this creating mutual futures.
The Malawi Bureau of Standards says it has destroyed numerous consumer products and recorded steel bars and fake and poorly labeled fertilizers between September and October 2023 in an effort to enhance compliance to standards among businesses in the country. MBS Director of Metrology Services, Tom Sunganmalenje, says, among other things, they have issued a recall order on deformed steel bars by Huamin Limited in Lilongwe. He explains.
The Malawi Bureau of Standards has been undertaking surveillance activities, market surveillance, where we go on the market and check on the quality of products. These activities are ongoing activities, and sometimes there is an impression out there that the Malawi Bureau of Standards is not doing its job. So why we undertaking this engagement is to demonstrate to the general public and give out some specific information on what we've done in the past 2 months, and we're highlighting problem areas and actions which we have taken to address those. For example, we have construction materials which are substandard. You have food items which are substandard, and you also having diapers, baby care products which are substandard, and all these have been confiscated or a re-expression order given as appropriate. Now, some of them are these import companies, and some are just supermarkets, and some of them are these local manufacturers. So the remedial actions which we have undertaken is that some of the products have been confiscated and destroyed. Some of the products where action can be taken to remedy, the companies have been advised, and some of them, for example, with the tampering of fertilizers, these have been taken to court and the police is prosecuting them. There are a number of factors. The first one, if we look at the internal environment, is that the Malawi Bureau of Standards has increased its capacity in terms of its testing capacity, but also operating capacity in terms of vehicles available to go around the country, and also increase in the number of staff. If you look to the external environment, we have a range of engagements with other public institutions, including the police, the Ministry of Agriculture, and other regulators. So in part, this is the reason why we have seen the rise in the cases, but also this is the onset of the agriculture growing season. This is why you find that there's a lot of activity in the fertilizer sector. This is why we're moving in to curb these malpractices. A fine is one of the components of the disincentive, but for example, here we're giving you information that this company did ABCD and they had these products confiscated and so forth. This is a dent to the image, and that also does have an impact on their businesses. A fine, yes, we can increase the fine to very large figures, but we also must know that the fines, the courts have got a way to adjust the fines depending on what time the act was given. The Malawi Bureau of Standards is just encouraging all manufacturers, importers, and distributors to engage the Malawi Bureau of Standards. We are here to facilitate trade. The issue is that all these standards or reference documents we are talking about, we have them in our library. We have the certification schemes. We have the import quality monitoring schemes. So before you engage in the sale of or distribution of the import of these products, engage the Malawi Bureau of Standards, get the requirements. We are there to support you. You see, these confiscations and also destruction of products which are already in the country is a last resort. But what we would love is the compliance, self-compliance. The people in the industry must be motivated on their own to comply with the products. This is the key message. But in case they do not, then the arm of the law is going to reach out to them, and then they're going to face these negative consequences.
Well, with that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.
Brought to you by Old Mutual. Creating mutual futures, your money invested for the good of all.